In the crisp autumn of 2003, Brian and Melissa Evans, a young couple from Minnesota brimming with the fresh optimism of newlyweds, embarked on their honeymoon to a secluded lake house nestled beside the tranquil waters of Leech Lake. The property had a peculiar history. It had remained eerily vacant for nearly 8 years, its previous owners having vanished without a trace, an unexplained mystery that the rental company offered no details on, only an enticingly steep discount. Brian, a passionate landscape photographer, was immediately captivated by the serene beauty that enveloped the place. He envisioned misty mornings captured on film, the stark, elegant silhouettes of pine trees against a dawn sky, and the breathtaking stillness of the lake surface reflecting the world like a flawless mirror. Melissa, however, felt a profound unease, a chilling silence she perceptively described as silent in the wrong way, a premonition of the subtle horrors to come. Their first night was shattered by an intrusion of sound that cut through the oppressive quiet. Melissa awoke with a jolt to a soft, deliberate splashing, utterly unlike the random stirrings of wind or the playful movements of fish. It was a rhythmic, almost purposeful pacing, an unseen presence moving across the lake. Her heart pounding, she rose from bed and peered out the window. The moonlight, casting an ethereal, almost mercury-like glow upon the water, illuminated a figure at the far shore, standing waist-deep, moving with an unsettling slowness. A shiver ran down her spine as she whispered Brian's name, and from across the seemingly vast expanse of the lake, an answering whisper, disembodied and chilling, echoed back, "Missy, come back." Brian, ever the pragmatist, brushed off her terror, attributing it to mere nightmares and overactive nerves, unwilling to acknowledge the unsettling reality that had just unfolded. Melissa, however, was unable to dismiss it. The unsettling experience had left her deeply unnerved, and she adamantly refused to sleep the following. Attempting to alleviate her fear, or perhaps to simply prove her wrong, Brian set up his trusty Canon, his 300 on a tripod, aiming it across the lake and setting a long exposure, hoping to capture nothing more than the serene nightscape. But when they developed the photograph, the image revealed something far more disturbing. The trees were sharp, every needle in focus. The shoreline was crisp, every pebble discernible. Yet in the clearing across the lake, a figure stood motionless, its face a horrifying blur, not an accidental smudge, but a deliberate, unnaturally distorted obliteration of features. Brian, with years of experience shooting diverse subjects from wild animals to violent storms and vast night skies, admitted with a shaken voice, "I've shot wildlife, storms, night skies. I've never seen distortion like that." The inexplicable distortion, a deliberate obscuring of identity, solidified Melissa's fears. The very next morning, abandoning their honeymoon, they hastily packed their belongings and fled the lake house, returning to the presumed safety of their home in Duluth. 2 months later, the chilling saga continued with the arrival of a mysterious letter, bearing no return address, no hint of its origin. Inside was a single disturbing photograph. It was a shot taken from across the lake, depicting the very cabin they had so hastily abandoned. But what truly sent a shiver of dread down Melissa's spine was the figure in the window. Herself. She was clearly visible inside, facing out, a spectral presence that she swore, with every fiber of her being, she had never been. Not once had she stood at that particular window. The police, investigating this unsettling development, managed to trace the print to an abandoned film lab in Bemidji. The technician's log, dated just days after Brian and Melissa's harrowing visit, contained a final single entry, a chilling echo of the whisper from the lake. "A Missy, come back." The mystery of the previous owners and the malevolent presence that lingered seemed to be inextricably linked to Melissa, beckoning her back to a fate she had narrowly escaped. In the year 1998, a weary Walter Ridley found himself the unexpected inheritor of a modest lake house in Maine. It was a rustic cabin tucked away amidst a dense growth of pines, characterized by its primitive charm. No electricity, and a dock that was slowly crumbling into a perpetually fog-prone. Walter, recently reeling from the painful dissolution of his marriage, sought only quietude and an escape from the tumultuous aftermath of his divorce. Instead of the anticipated tranquility, he found himself ensnared in a disturbing nightly routine. Every night with unsettling precision at precisely 3:12 a.m., he would be wrenched from his sleep by the same chilling sound, the distinct groan of the old dock, burdened by slow, deliberate footsteps. Yet each time he compelled himself to look, the dock remained eerily empty, shrouded in the persistent mist, until the third. On that fateful third night, Walter stood frozen at his kitchen window, the thick, damp fog pressing insistently against the glass, obscuring all but the nearest objects, and then he saw, on the crumbling dock, a small figure stood, a child barefoot, utterly motionless, staring with an unnerving intensity into the murky water. Walter later recounted how he blinked, a simple, involuntary action, and in that fleeting instant, the child turned to face him. A smile chilling and unnatural spread across its face. In his journal, Walter later painstakingly recorded the experience, the words heavy with disbelief and terror. It wasn't a hallucination. The smile was wrong. It didn't stop at the cheeks. It stretched like skin pulled too tight. Where the child's eyes should have been, there were only two deep, unsettlingly dark pits, voids that seemed to swallow the dim light. The image was seared into his memory, a grotesque parody of innocence. Walter, desperate for answers, ventured into the nearby town, hoping for some explanation or local lore about the lake. But the townspeople, with an almost palpable collective understanding, remained silent about the lake. Their faces shuddered when the subject arose. Finally, an old man, his eyes wise and weary, broke the unspoken code. He advised Walter, his voice low and grave. The words struck Walter with a profound chill. He hadn't told anyone of his quiet plans to fix the deteriorating structure. That very night, a horrifying discovery awaited him. His tools, the hammer, the nails, the saw, were meticulously arranged in a perfect circle on the very dock, their handles pointing inward as if laid out for some ritualistic purpose. The sight solidified Walter's terror, and he never set foot on the dock again, convinced of a malevolent presence. The dreams began soon after, a nightly torment that blurred the lines between sleep and wake. In these recurring nightmares, Walter found himself walking barefoot on the damp, splintered planks of the dock. Each night, he took one step farther, drawn by an irresistible, unseen force, and with each step a voice, childlike yet hollow and devoid of emotion, whispered, "One more step." The dreams grew progressively more vivid and terrifying. In the final, most agonizing dream, he succumbed to the spectral command. Taking that final fated step off the dock, he awoke with a violent gasp, choking, his lungs burning as if he had truly been submerged. His bed was soaked through as if drenched by water, and his feet were caked in mud, cold and clammy. Yet his doors were locked, his windows shut tight, and there had been no storm, no rain, nothing to explain the impossible wetness and mud. The lines between dream and reality had irrevocably blurred. Utterly terrified, he packed his bags and fled the house that very morning, leaving behind the chilling mystery. 3 weeks later, a pair of hikers stumbled upon a child's sneaker resting precariously on the dock's edge. Inside it, meticulously folded twice, was a water-stained photograph. It depicted a boy, soaking wet, his eyes closed in an unsettling stillness. On the back, scrawled in an unknown hand, was a chilling warning: "He only walks when it's foggy." In 2011, Jasmine Clark, an independent filmmaker driven by a desire to capture the raw essence of isolation, rented a remote lake house in the pristine wilderness of British Columbia. Her intention was to film a short piece exploring the profound themes of solitude and silence, hoping the untouched tranquility of the location would provide the perfect backdrop. The lake indeed seemed to embody stillness. There were no other houses nearby, no passing boats to disturb the glassy surface. Yet every morning, with an unnerving punctuality at precisely 6:03, the water would ripple, a single massive disturbance that spread across the entire surface as if something gargantuan had brushed just beneath, a fleeting, unseen presence. The first unsettling anomaly Jasmine noticed occurred during the playback of her initial footage. In a scene where she stood at the shore, speaking directly into her camera, she observed something profoundly disturbing. Her reflection in the water wasn't syncing with her movements. While she shifted, turned her head, and blinked, her reflection remained eerily still, its gaze fixed forward, an unblinking, unresponsive mirror image. Initially, she dismissed it with a nervous laugh, attributing it to a simple technical glitch or a slight delay in the recording. But then it happened again and again. In every reflective surface she encountered, the polished glass of a window, the gleaming metal of a utensil, and most frequently the seemingly innocent surface of the lake water, her reflection stopped responding to her actions, becoming a separate, autonomous entity. The phenomenon escalated, becoming more personal and terrifying. One night, as Jasmine walked past the hallway mirror, her reflection didn't walk with her. It remained fixed in place, its unmoving gaze directed intently toward the front door. A prickle of fear ran down her spine. She spun around, checking the door, but found nothing amiss. However, when she returned to the mirror, her reflection was now smiling, a wide, unsettling grin that stretched unnaturally across its face. Even more horrifying was a subsequent discovery in her audio log. A recording timestamped for a time she couldn't recall being awake captured her own voice laced with confusion. "I don't remember recording that entry, but the camera was on. I was standing there just smiling for 10 minutes, and I swear I wasn't awake then." The implication was chilling. Her own body, seemingly under the control of an unseen force, had performed actions she had no memory of. Desperate for answers and perhaps validation that she wasn't losing her mind, she sent her raw footage to her editor, hoping for an explanation. But instead of a reply, she received only a chilling voicemail, a recording filled with the sound of heavy, labored breathing, followed by a whispered, spectral voice. "She's below." The message confirmed her deepest fears. Driven by a morbid curiosity and a desperate need to understand, Jasmine launched her drone over the lake, directing its camera beneath the surface. The playback revealed a horrifying sight, a figure impossibly submerged, kneeling perfectly still, facing upward. Its eyes were wide open, its mouth agape in a silent scream. There were no bubbles, no movement, just an unblinking, waiting presence beneath the tranquil waters. The next day, Jasmine Clark vanished without a trace. Her car remained neatly parked. Her laptop was found open, a silent testament to her last moments. Her camera was placed neatly on the dock as if set up for a final shot. The final footage retrieved from the camera showed Jasmine standing at the water's edge, unnervingly still, and then her reflection blinked. The last chilling act, a silent claim from the depths.